Hello everyone, welcome to Grow Your Future. I am Zar, CEO of Luxland. I'm joined today by Jade and Mark. How are you guys?
G'day, g'day.
Hey guys.
And we also have a very, very special guest, the real beast from the East. This guy has been a true inspiration to me through the fitness industry. Also has a very, very beautiful family. The motivating Mets ANALIN. Welcome.
Thanks, Zar. I really appreciate it. I'm honoured to be here. Obviously, I follow you guys a lot as well, and you know you've got a great team here. I know Jade's an amazing person, also an amazing business person. I see Mark in a lot of your videos, so I know
he's all right.
He's all right. He's all right. And everyone needs some a guy that they can run to, talk to, and maybe
everyone needs a punching bag.
Yeah, everyone does. Yeah. Yeah, I was telling Jules all the world's problems an hour ago, and it helps. It helps. But no, thanks a lot for getting me here, and I really appreciate it. And likewise, man, I appreciate you coming on my podcast because it was really good. You even instigated and pushed me harder to really show my true self as well. And I think when you can talk about your story and share your story, you can get a lot more people resonating with exactly what you're doing and what your purpose and your outcome in life is as well.
Well, I was honoured to be on your podcast, Mets. And how long ago was that? Was that 6 months ago? Or?
Yeah, it was 6 months ago.
6 months ago.
Yeah, it was about 6 months ago.
When you think about it, in 6 months, how much we have all progressed. Like people on our team, yourself. Like I can see on social media that you've done so much in 6 months. And we just had a conversation earlier about the world moving at such a rapid rate.
Yeah.
And we've had to become such fast learners.
Yeah.
And I look back on the last 12 months, and especially people listening tonight who have listened to our first episodes of Grow Your Future. Like it's such a big difference. I mean, what episode are we in now? 23?
We're on 23, so how about we introduce what we're talking about tonight? People don't know. But look, we're going to talk tonight about creating culture, Mets. That's what we brought you on board tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you for the introduction already. But we're going to ask you, where have you come from entrepreneurially, and what are you doing with yourself today, just so we get an understanding of who you are, and then we'll jump into it.
Well, where I came from is the streets, mate. Like that's like literally, growing up, and I tell this to my team, and I'll tell this to everyone. I wasn't the best student. I probably wasn't the best son. I had to become a better father and a better husband. And that was quite hard, and there was a lot of pivotal moments in my life where I had to grow up, and that is extremely hard when you feel like you're doing all the right things but you're so young that you're not. And so learning the hard way, when I was growing up, there was no pats on the back from mum and dad. There was none of that. So I used to play footy. They didn't even know that footy existed. If you came home and you were scratched and you were smashed, that didn't matter to them. So and that was good, because that tough love gave me the courage to pursue what I am doing in the fitness industry and everything that I do in my life. It gives it more meaning and more purpose to understand where I came from. And was it extremely hard? If you rationalize what life was back then, that's what it was. I didn't know any different. What I did know though, and I'll never forget this, and it was a pivotal moment a few times in my teens and probably in my early 20s, where mum absolutely gave it to me. She said, you'll amount to nothing. And I rightly deserve that, because I wasn't doing the right things. And did it hit me hard? Was it like a punch in the guts? Yeah, 100% it was. But people need to hear that, because a lot of the times you may think you're a young kid, you're doing things right, but you're doing everything wrong. And so, that was a big catalyst for life, for my life changing. And so then when I went into the business at 21, still young, and you got to earn your respect. You're running a gym, and quite frankly, no one respected me. Even though my brothers were 10 years older than me, I had to earn that respect the hard way. I'd probably done everything backwards with no experience, but I was cool with that. I was happy to, eat dirt and do it tough. And so, and I say to my team, people don't know this about me, but mate, I worked behind the counter for 14 years before I made it to the next phase and what you see at Coogee. You know, and you only had a closing shift or an opening shift. There was always one guy on shift. It was either me or my brother. That was it. So, you know, in the early stages, working 14 days straight, that was just normal. You know what I mean? And working, you know, and not earning much money, lucky to earn anything, really, just making ends meet. You know, and people ask me, what made you keep going? Obviously, you know, culture starts from the family, right? Even though, you know, you copped it if you didn't do the right thing, and rightfully so. You had to hear that, but you always stuck together. Everyone stuck together, and still today that we stick together. Even if there is a problem, there's no problem because we know what our job is within the family. So the culture started very, very early, even though I wasn't doing things right. You kept being told, you know, no, you're not doing the right thing.
So you're saying that the foundations of having your family back to when you were a kid, really, right? This is before your wife and, you know, you were living at home with your parents. There was that foundation of having that great culture at home that then you transferred over into your new family when you got married and had kids, and also now your family at work as well. Yeah. So that would have been a massive contributor to that.
It was big, because what experience do I have in business?
None,
man. I mean, so where do you learn then? Obviously, you learn through working, you know, in the front line. You got nowhere to run, and you either learn or you sink.
Make the mistakes.
You make the mistake. So I've got a choice, right? I actually had no choice, really, because the family matters more. You can't run away from your commitments that you've given to the family. There's no way. There's nowhere to run. So when I look back at that, that was good, you know, and you don't know that there's another choice. There was only one choice. Now we're given two choices. You either work or you don't work. You know, I chose that, you know, I've got to stick with this. This is hard. This is extremely hard. We're not earning much money here. Like, this is insane. Where's this going to take us? You don't give up, man. You know, that's a big thing. Don't give up. If you're focused and that's what you really want, something will happen as long as you stick to it, as long as you're persistent, as long as you're grinding it out every single day. Something will come. You start meeting better people. Everything starts flowing from there. And that's what I say to a lot of people, man. Don't give yourself 6 months. Give yourself years and work under someone you can learn from. And take the tough feedback, take the tough criticism, and you'll be better for it. Man, I'm one of the taskmasters on myself. I'm really, really hard on myself. And that's come because of the tough upbringing, right? Because, you know, you gotta learn and master what you're doing every single day, and no one's there to teach you. You got to learn it, right? And I didn't have we didn't have the freedom of YouTube and these different books that are out now. We didn't have access to that, you know what I mean? And now we have access. It's a lot easier.
Yeah, we were speaking about this earlier as well, about having too much information.
Yes,
and there's too much wrong information out there, and there's not enough, I guess, right information being guided into the right people. Yeah. Too many people want to have this overnight success, right? They just want, like you said, give it 6 months, and then they give up because it's just not working. Like I've been in business for 10 years now, and I'm hard on myself as well. So what I like about your story, Mats, is that you've come from nothing, right? And that's why I respect you so much, and I admire your success so much. We've got associates and friends that we know who have been born into wealth. They've been gifted companies, they've been gifted good positions, they've been gifted wealth, right? And for some reason, those people, I can't connect with them, right? It's different how they've made things work. But with you, you've come from nothing and you're a huge success, right? And that's why I have so much respect for you, and I always have. But one of the questions I want to ask you is, you know, you're at the top creating this culture, right? And that's the same with me, with all my businesses. I'm up the top, and I'm fortunate enough to have a beautiful wife who supports me, and also, you know, she's just like a business partner as well. Because, you know, every other business partner turned their backs on me, right? She's the only one that stuck by me. So I'm at the top here, creating this culture. Who do I turn to? right? Like you said just then, you go, work under someone that can help you and teach you. I constantly, you know, like find it hard because I'm at the top, right?
Yeah.
How do you do it? Because you're at the top, right?
Look, I think there's an element of humility and humbleness, because I never feel that way. I just feel like that I'm just the same as everyone. Like, if you look at the averages in life, I don't feel like I'm better than anyone. I feel like maybe I've got more experience at this point in time than I had before, and I like to learn about people. So like this week, for instance, I sat down with my whole team. Man, that's a lot of energy. It takes a lot of energy to do that. And I asked them questions. And when you ask the right questions, you find out the best ways they want to learn. And everyone wants to get better. But it's having the confidence to go, can I learn that? Can I retain that? And then can I take action on that? Because maybe if I do learn that, am I too afraid to take action because I'm going to fail? And if I fail, is that going to create anxiety? Is that going to create pressure on myself? And so when I look at, you know, working with a team, you know, when people go, is it easy creating culture? It's extremely, extremely hard. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and make no mistake about it, it takes a lot of energy. And so then you go, okay, well, what's the alternative? The alternative is not doing it and not having a good culture. So when people walk into Titan Fitness, they always say that. They always say the culture's good. We've had turnover of staff. Why does it continue to become good? It's because I've got to come up with new ways, and I've got to get team members to buy into it. And, you know, like you see Jules there, the guy works hard behind the scenes, you know what I mean? And he's putting in the effort, and he's learning, and he knows what it takes. And, you know, his journey is no different. It maybe there's a few differences within that. Then you get one person understanding, but then that might work really well, but the two people underneath might not work really well. So then you go, well, how do you find that balance? And what you do is you go away, you get frustrated, you come back the next day with a better plan, because the plan wasn't good enough. The plan wasn't sound enough. And then that's where, like, I get frustrated with me because my plan's not good enough yet. And sometimes I can't look at the other individual. I've got to look at what am I doing? How am I going to make those principles better? So then they can come in and they go, okay, I know the principles. I know exactly what I've got to do each week, but I know how I've got to develop in this particular area to make the next person's job better. That's what I'm focusing on right now. It's no different to training. Like, you know what you got to eat, you know how you got to train, and you've got all the systems in place. You know what time you got to get up, but you got to do the work. And so I say to people, like, what matters in your life, what has meaning, and then when you look at the two areas, what has meaning. So one area you might go, well, I don't want to have meaning in this area. It doesn't mean much to me. Okay, so why doesn't that mean much to you when it's part of your job? Well, then that question's got to get asked. You got to answer that question. So if nothing has meaning, no relationship will have meaning in your life. But if something has meaning, then you're going to push yourself a bit further each and every day. And I tell people, like people go, what type of a person am I? I go, I'm actually probably a lazy person, but that's disciplined, right? That's the truth, right? And they go, well, you look like you're heaps busy. I had a guy that joined the other day, and he's been watching me on social media a bit, and he goes, mate, I know you're super busy. You got kids. Like, how do you do it all? He goes, are you here all day? I said, no, I'm not here all day. Because, like, how do you balance all that? I said, look, it's not easy because you know, you want to be involved, but I don't want to be too involved because I know my team wants to show what they can do as well. So I've got to find that perfect balance there. Is that balance easy? No chance in hell. That's hard. So when people go, like, how much work does it take? Well, 21 years in the business, being knocked from, you know, pillar to post constantly, you know, eating shit? But that's where it is, man. You know, and then people go, well, how many hours do you spend learning? Like, they're insane hours, man. Like, sometimes I can do 30 hours a week. I watch video after video, and I read and I listen to podcasts. I want to see how they ask the questions. I want to see how people answer the questions. I go to myself, well, I've got my own story. How am I going to tell my own story better? Like, that's, and then that goes back to the team. Then I go, okay, what are the principles I can make better? How can I make each person's job better? What questions do I have to ask? How do I leave my door open so they can come and ask me all the time? How do I make them feel comfortable? You know, that's a challenge in itself.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Matt. That's how much good value did we just get out of that?
Yeah, quite a lot.
Amazing.
Yeah. Can I just ask as well, what is the most rewarding part for you being at the top of Titan Fitness?
Oh man, when you see people do good works, like when Jules showed me the membership page, like I was like, I'm fucking excited, but don't get too excited yet. You know, like I've got to keep that in check as well. You know, and then like when you get overexcited for one person, you got to go, okay, how does the other person, like they've got to get a win now. So you want people to get wins, and so but the whole process, like when you start evolving and you start seeing them do amazing things, and you know, like today, you know, on the WhatsApp, you know, Jules was in the lead for getting people on board in the challenge. That's exciting. You know, when you see that and you feel that, that becomes exciting, because you see these people producing things and you get excited for them, and you want to make sure they keep growing, and then they keep invested in the process, and sometimes they're not going to have the best day. Sometimes I'm not going to have the best day, but then we go, okay, let's work together on this. Let's be more open with our conversations, and sometimes that can get heated to a point, and then you got to walk away, and then you got to go, okay, how do we gather ourselves and come back and find the best process that's going to help us now.
So essentially, like in saying that as well, like what you would find rewarding, the same as the way we feel rewarded here, is when everyone in the team is doing good, essentially. That to you means more than making them all the money in the world, correct?
100%. Like it's every worker, you know. It's not. It doesn't come down to one person. It comes down, like there's no way I could do my job without everyone else involved. And there's no way they can do their job with the other people around them involved. You know, some people might have a bigger role, but if we have a bigger role, we've got more responsibility. So we've got responsibility on the people below us and how their feelings are. And I always go back to this, you know, my environment growing up wasn't the best environment, and that pretty much dictated my results, and that dictates your outcome. So a lot of the times you've got to audit those circles, whether they're inside or outside, and then you've got to audit how many hours you spend with them, and then you've got to focus on what's the most important thing for me. Like, you know, the emotions that I had to go through the last 7 weeks, yeah, mate, they're just like, they're these massive waves up and down, and you've got this purpose and outcome that you're working towards, and you know, within one day you've got 5 ups and downs just mentally yourself, no one else. And mate, I was just kept going back to YouTube videos and podcasts and reading, because that was my go-to, just to keep me at a point where I know I'm going to come back in, I'm going to do the work, and coming back into the gym was the hardest thing I've had to do. It was like, how am I going to work? How am I going to communicate with my team? How am I going to take that first step? If I do too much, is it too early? So I had to be aware of all those little things, and that's a challenge, because you don't know yourself enough in that situation, because it's so foreign. But you know, getting back in there and doing the extra work, and then seeing the people and seeing the support of the people was massive, and it was very gratifying, because you go, well, this is a great community.
Well, you've built that culture from the beginning, so that when an adversity strikes, you're all in it together, right? So what I love about that is, because your gym, Titans Fitness, is it's like family, like not just the staff but the members as well.
Yeah.
There's this real community feel about this business that you've built. So if anyone sort of falls down, then you're all in it together, lifting each other up. But you've done the groundwork from, you know, 20 years ago, from when you started the business. It's 20 years now?
Over 20.
So over 20 years ago, you started the business, and you've instilled this culture, and like you're saying, you're improving every single day. Yeah. You're asking the questions, you're getting deep into the meaning of what motivates people, and you're giving back to them as well, and the members as well, so that when adversity strikes, you're able to be supported. right? And I've seen time and time again people who run businesses and they just think about themselves. They don't think about building a culture. They're just thinking about money, right?
It's too late.
And then adversity strikes. What happens? Everything falls down because no one wants to support those people because they haven't given enough.
Yeah.
The beauty
100%.
of your culture that you've built is that you've given more than you've received, so that when in time of need, you've been able to go, all right, I need you people to hold me up. And that's what's happened here.
And they've done an amazing job. Like I can't thank them enough, you know what I mean? And and you have to do that. Like you have to thank those people because it's that support that makes a big difference, man. Like there's, you know, like today wasn't the easiest day, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I've done the early video and then I've done the podcast and then I go, you know what, I've got to come on here and I've got to, you know, I've got to do the right thing and I've got to
turn it on.
And once I start talking, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And it's almost my outlet to express myself, because if you suppress yourself, all you're doing is suppressing this feeling that is a part of you, and then when you suppress and you hold things in, you start imploding, and then you sacrifice who you want to become. And so it's very important that people talk to others that care about them, because that other person doesn't have to say anything. They just have to listen. They don't have to say one word. It's just a matter of listening, you know, because you'll find a way once you've let out what you've had to let out. You'll find a way. You find an answer. And like that's what business is like, you know. I mean, it is a roller coaster. It is emotional. You know, I invest a lot of like my time and feelings into my workers, and when it doesn't work out, you know, I get hurt. You know what I mean? But that's fine, because that's my responsibility, right? I chose that. So if I go, well, you know, I don't want to get hurt anymore, well, I've got a choice. I can either stay or go. You know what I mean? So that's
it's a
so
risk you take, isn't it? When you bring on employees and make them your family, there's always a risk with bringing new people into the business, but most of the time it works out to be positive. But one of the things I wanted to say about culture was, you know, you've built something really good and really special and unique in a business when people take on that brand as your own. As their own, sorry. Yeah. So, and they take complete ownership over. So, for your gym, for example, Pete, I'm sure that your staff would act like they own it, because they take so much ownership and pride in what they do that they're taking on. Yeah, they're taking on that.
Point, yeah.
I reckon if there was no social media, they wouldn't know that I own the place. That's 100%, because the workers, you know, like I think I done a one-on-one with one of my staff members yesterday. And a member joined up and said, do you guys love working here? And they go, we love it. And I said, that person asked that question because she hears a lot of the times that it's probably not the place that they like working at. And the girls, without a shadow of a doubt, they said they love working there. And one of the new girls that started, Jessica, she goes, you know, with my old job, I found it hard to get up at 4:30 to go and work. She goes, but here I actually get excited to come, because you know, I'm growing, I'm learning, I want to become better, and when you hear that, like, it still shocks me when they say that. Like, even when new people come, it still shocks you, because you go, well, is this that special? Because for me, that's just normal. Like, that's what I do, right? Like, work's normal. But then when you hear them get excited and then they work together and they're having fun and they're growing together, that gets exciting. You know,
it reminds you of why you do it.
Yeah.
It's like this, right? Like, they're your kids, and your kids are going to disappoint you sometimes. Yeah. And then you're going to get back on track, and then they're going to do something really good, and they're going to do something bad again. You know what I mean? So
just forever mentoring them as well. Like, when you care so much and you're so invested into your business, then you're going to do the right thing, and it's a forever mentorship thing, isn't it? Educating them, this is what you do, bringing them back in and saying, this is what we do here, these are our values, these are our ethos.
The biggest thing is, don't act like you know everything, because mate, if I knew everything would be perfect, right? Yeah. So I'm going to make mistakes. I'm not going to understand you the way you should be understood yet, but we've got to work on that, and maybe vice versa with me as well. Like, what am I doing that I need to do better? And critiquing yourself, and then asking for that feedback. Like, how was it? And not being afraid of that, but just going, this is how I felt. And that could be hard for a CEO or an owner. But if you want to grow and you want to get better with people, you gotta take that feedback on.
Yeah.
I like the analogy of your team being like your kids,
Yeah.
right? Like, because I definitely feel like that. Everyone in my team are like my kids, right? And I guess steering away from the negatives of sometimes we all sort of stuff up, but the positives, right? How rewarding it is, right? And it's not about money. It's not about money. It's just the progression that I see in my team. It's just, I can't explain that feeling, and that's why I tell people who aren't entrepreneurs, people who are just, they not just, but they might have jobs and they've never run a business before, and I try and tell them this feeling that you get of watching your team grow from nothing to something and now to everything, right? Like, it's just, there's so much, but in such a short period of time. And obviously they credit us, right, for helping them. They credit our education, they credit our experience. And it's one of the greatest feelings in the world.
It really is.
And I say as well, like being the child here, right?
You're a little baby.
The man child, is it?
There's the joke of the
beard.
Jules wanted that, mate. He wanted that.
There's the joke of the week, guys. It just happened.
No, but
How old are you, Mark?
Yeah, 10. No, no, I was going to say, like, Zal was saying, it's amazing when he sees the team grow.
Yeah.
And it's amazing on our end as the children, right? When we can go, hey, Zal, I did this. Hey, Jade, I did that. And they're like, oh, man, that's great. And everyone's just, that positive energy is just like,
Momentum.
you can feel it. Like, you can cut it in the air. It's actually tangible.
And it drives everyone else up as well.
It does,
we use it a lot. We talk about momentum so much around here. Like, good things just happen in big, I guess, chunks. Because everyone, when the whole team's doing well, like, one person does well, the whole team's doing well. Like, you have these small wins here and there, because I think good energy attracts good energy, right? So it's important for that culture.
One thing I do is I love the positivity, I love the optimism, right? But what I do is I go, look, when things go wrong and you're too positive, it can affect you. Just understand the other side as well. So if you can understand the two sides of the coin, but go into every day optimistic, go into every day on the offense, you know what I mean? And just be prepared, but be optimistic every single day. And sometimes that's not easy, and then you got to go, okay, what do I have to do that? You've got to look at yourself, and then if you go overly confident and overly positive, that can have a counter effect as well. So you got to make sure that there's that balance in place. And what I find is the people that have got the two ends right tend to deal with problems better, because they're ready, right? But if you go in too optimistic, too positive, and you put the front on, well, man, things can go bad as well. You know what I mean?
I love that, Mets, because Mark and I discussed that quite a bit, right? Because Mark has a sales role within this business, and our industry it's an emotional roller coaster, like you said. With running our own businesses, and one day you're up, and the next day you're literally rock bottom, and it is actually a sales role is like running your own business essentially, because it's limitless in what you can earn, and you're running your own show, and it's important to conserve that energy, right, and have 100%. That balance, because when those rough times hit, you want to be able to bounce back quickly, right? But also when those good times hit, you want to make sure you conserve your energy, because you don't know when that rough time's going to come back
100%.
again.
And you got to have these checkpoints on yourself. Go, mate, don't get too overexcited, because you got a way to go, but celebrate a win, celebrate something, right? And
that comes with age. That comes with age and experience.
100%, man. Like, I'm 42 this year, and most of my staff are half my age. And I go, fucking hell.
Yeah. So you'd have plenty of advice for them.
Where do you start?
Well, then I've got my daughter. So it's good having a daughter around that age, because you understand the two ends. I don't want to be too good to you, you know, I want to kick your ass a bit too, because I don't want to make it too easy, because you're going to have falls. If I cotton wool you and I say you're going to be great at everything, I said you're going to play rugby, get ready to get smashed and get up, because it's going to hit you. You think you're doing all these drills, you're going to be all right. You're going to get smashed. Get up. It's going to happen. So she's ready for that, right? But if I go, mate, everything's going to be sweet, nothing's going to be sweet. That's playing rugby, playing any game's the game of entrepreneurship. It's the game of life. It's the same thing. You're going to get hit, smashed. You're going to get hurt, you're going to get back up, you're going to have a win, you're going to lose. How are you going to handle all that? That's all the things that are going to happen. But be on the offense. Don't go into the day negative. Be on the offense. You might not have the best day, but you're still on the offense. You might lose a few deals, but you're still on the offense because you're trying to come back. And that's what I try and tell everyone. Like, I've done a fair few sessions this week with the team. I probably overloaded myself, to be perfectly honest, but I had to take that challenge on. And the whole week's going to be busy with video content and interviewing people. The seminar tomorrow where I'm going to get as deep as I can. And to be perfectly honest, when I looked at that schedule, I go, you're pushing yourself a bit hard here. So if you do break down, you've done it on yourself. So don't blame anyone, take responsibility. That's what I said to myself. So that's cool, right? I don't care if I go down. I'll get back up. But I'll learn from that experience as well.
I think, I really think there's something in, the hardest times bring out the toughest people. Definitely. I believe in that, with especially what you've been going through, Metz, in recent times. I've seen it with you over the last 10 to 12 years go through so much adversity to the point where there were times where I'm like, are you just going to keep going? Are you not going to just quit, But I think that's what builds up resilience. If you're not willing to hit adversity in the face and go, come at me, I'm ready for you, then you're not going to build up the resilience to tackle the hard times, because the hard times are coming for everybody.
It's like I've been listening to this clinical psychologist. He's really good, and Jules was reading his book. His name's Jordan Peterson. So if you look at life itself, right, there's always a hot and a cold. So there's always good and bad, and that's 50-50. And if you look at marriages now, that's 50-50 as well. So when you understand the two sides of the coin, that good and bad's going to be there, well, you've got a choice now. You go the good, right? So you go the good, but understand bad's going to happen. Like, you've been screwed on a lot of deals and in business and that, right? So you went through that bad, right? And that's there. That's never going to go. It will never, ever go. So when we prepare kids, to go in the workplace, are we over-parenting them? You know what I mean? And saying everything's going to be good, because it ain't. The school system's not good. I mean, the kids are getting it early anyway. But then when you go to the next phase and you go in workplaces, a lot of places won't have that culture where it's fostering growth and progress for those kids. So then you got to teach them that those two ends are going to happen. I'm going to get a bad customer that's going to go right at my staff members. Well, how are you going to handle that? Because that's going to happen. You know what? For 14 years, that was happening to me 3-4 times a week at the worst end of let's go outside. We're going to punch on now. And when I tell my team that, they're like, I've done this little seminar for the team, gave them a brief history. They freaked out. I said, look, that was normality though. If I look at my life, we were brought up that way. Like you either stand up for yourself or you get beat up, right? Totally against that now, right? But that was what life was. You're in the front line, and so I'm always optimistic and on the offense. I don't want to be negative, but I understand the other side, and there's not enough people that understand that side. They go, oh, I'm going to smile, I'm going to be optimistic, everything's going to work out, I'm just going to wish good luck. Well, what action are you taking? What action are you actually taking? How many times are you getting knocked down and getting back up? Because mate, the last 7 weeks, that's full on, man. That's at the height of getting knocked down. And it's extremely, it was the hardest thing I had to go through. So, and then you go, what's the next thing that's going to be that hard? Because there is going to be things that hard again. And you ask yourself then, like, what is it? What's life? What is it? Like, what's the purpose now? And you start questioning yourself in those areas. And then you go, well, it is what it was when you committed to what it really is, and that's adding value and servicing the people every single day to the best of your ability.
And what you go through, Matt, and and the reason again why I respect you so much of that whole 20 plus years of being in business and going from punching on with disgruntled customers to now, dealing with more personal issues right now and trying to hold up your business and everything, right? And, running your team. The reason why I admire you so much is because you just keep getting back up. With people, I think a lot of entrepreneurs who are well established can resonate with that, because you just keep getting knocked down, and the only way that you can really overcome that is just get back up again and try again, right?
Yeah.
And the more you get knocked down, I find that the stronger your character becomes, and your story becomes so much more interesting. You become so much more confident, right? Like, even in the last 3 years, it's been an emotional roller coaster for me with all of my business ventures, but it's really shaped me.
Yeah.
At the time, feels like the whole world's caving in.
Yeah.
And we say it so much on this podcast, and this can apply to sports or like fitness, to your job, your career. Like it's all the same. Right. The more stress and adversity you can handle and come back from, the stronger your character will become. Like, this is the result.
That's 100%,
right?
because you're building calluses.
That's it.
Yep.
You're building calluses, and then all of a sudden things don't matter as much. That don't matter.
Because you felt that pain before.
It's funny. There was that point where I wanted to feel it like really, really deep. I said, hit me hard. Get me hard as you can. Like, just go after me, And I remember I was at my mum's house. It was 10:30 at night. And I said, this isn't good. But, mate, do your best. Do your best to get me, right? And I'll never forget that moment. That'll be with me forever. So then when things get tough, I'll remember that moment. And it's funny, my dad's pictures, my dad was this guy, he'd just chip away, mate. He's like, when you see Coogee, the amount of work he'd done there, and his photo's right next to my charger. And when I'm not doing something, he's telling me, get off your fucking ass and move, right? Because you get lazy, right?
Yeah.
And then I got that voice there all the time. You having a shit day? I don't care, man. Move. Every time there was a problem when we were building that place, I go, fuck, this is... He goes, mate, what are you going to do about it? I go, what are we going to do? He goes, keep working. Keep working. That's what it is. That's what he was like.
It's life.
You've got that forever now.
My dad couldn't speak English. He knew every tradesman. Even every tradesman that ever worked in the place. I go, no, we loved your dad.
Sounds like
He couldn't speak English, but mate, he made sure everything was in order and clean, and the place was pristine for the next day for the builder to come in, so they knew exactly what they were doing. And that voice is always there. Like, get up, go for a walk. Make sure you eat right. Get back in, work. So what if there's a problem? Make sure you're working. So those things resonate continuously. And so, like, what I say to people, you've had that adversity. What did you learn from it, man? What are you going to come of it? Like, if there's always areas I can improve, and I could be a lot calmer, for sure. And when you're a go-getter, when you're an entrepreneur, you're trying to go fast, and sometimes you're trying to go fast when you don't have the resources. So then you've got to peg it back. You go, wait a second, maybe we do need more resources. Maybe we've got to work a little bit harder on those areas. So it teaches you, like, those skills from a man that had, limited education, that lost his parents when he was young. You go, how does he have those principles in life? Like, where does he get that from? Never spoke bad about anyone. So how could anyone speak bad about him? And those principles are really the principles of life. And every time I think about him, I think of all those things, and that's why, like, adversity can help you so much. You just got to take a step back, take a big deep breath, and go, mate, what have I learned right now? As hard as it is, because it is extremely hard in those moments, and you've been there, and you go, how am I going to get out of it? And you because you're so driven, because you go, man, I'm gonna, my wife's there, the people that care about me are right there. Man, they've backed me all my life. I'm not giving up now, you know. And that's so important for people to understand that.
Well, Max, I'm sure your father is watching over you now, going,
Yeah.
you know, what an incredible man I've created, right? And the
Yeah.
culture that he's
Definitely.
instilled from the very beginning that has now resonated down to your family, to your
Yeah.
business. It's amazing. It's amazing. You're a good man, Max.
No, I appreciate
You're an
that.
inspiration to all of
I
us.
don't, you know, like, honestly, I'm not good with praise. You know what I mean? I've never have been, like, and I think, you know, like, and
You're good
it's-
with criticism.
I'm better with criticism, mate. You know what? I'll tell you what drives me the most, and it's bad, is negativity. Like, if anyone says that I can't do it, that's a driver. You know, I was lucky. I got an older brother, and they've been supportive right throughout my whole life. And there's tough love, right? There's nothing. There's no slaps on the back that you've done a good job. Never. So then praise becomes, because you're just doing what you're doing, man. Even if I told my dad, you've done a great job, he goes, mate, just get out of it. No, it's just work, man. And so I've never been good with that. Maybe I got to get better at it, but it's not probably my strength, praise. And
We definitely have to recognise it, Max, because you've done a lot.
Yeah, it's all
And
right.
you've done a
It's
lot
good.
for others as well, which has
Yeah.
built this culture.
Yeah.
And that's
That's right.
why we probably get along so well, because I look up to
Yeah.
you with what you've built.
Well,
right?
man, you
And
know,
can help
you.
some-
Well, let's go back to you, right? Like you said.
Let's talk about
You
me
said
for a
no.
bit.
Remember when you said at the podcast, Jules? He goes, mate, rev up, mate. What the hell's wrong with you? Buy you some scotch, drink, get out there, do something. And I'm telling you, I remember those little things.
Yeah.
And our friend Vic said the same thing.
Yeah.
And now he's doing nothing. No, he's a good bloke, but he's had a challenging week. But mate, it's people like yourselves that do care about, you know, like you care, you know. And you said, man, let's just go for it, man. And so the hardest thing was you got to tell the story. You got to be authentic, and people don't see that side of me, right? And the support's been unbelievable, mate, from everyone in the gym. That's why I wanted to tell the story more, because they're supporting it. They understand what you're going through. So I go, mate, just tell the story. You know, don't hold yourself back. You're going to help people with the story. That's what you've always wanted to do. You know, something that was really good for me in those 7 weeks was, funny enough, going back into the area you grew up with, no one recognises you. That's so good. So, you know, when you come back to Coogee, the first thing is everyone's watching you, and you go, fuck, this is too much. Everyone's saying their condolences, and that became too much. Even though I appreciate it so much, but you know, through social media, everyone knows who the owner is, and I'm not good with praise. Like I'm, you know, people go, well, you an extrovert or introvert? I say, mate, a lot of the times I am an introvert. Like I just, you know, you want to be alone, and you want to come back and give so much, and you got to find that space that's that perfect space so you can perform all the time, because the members matter. They matter. The people that you serve matter. And you got to give them absolutely everything, and you got to be on all the time for them, because they deserve that. It doesn't matter what I'm going through. Do I need my space? If I'm going to go in there, I'm giving them my time. That's it. You know what I mean?
And that's why it's important to, I guess, open up and be authentic about your story and tell people what you're going through, because then people understand it and they'll be mindful of it, especially with the culture that you've built within your businesses. Where if you just switch off because you're a social media sensation now, Mets, right? So everyone...
Jules goes, Mets, you're doing shit. This is a shit video, mate. Get your act together. Like last week, he was right. He goes, mate, look at the camera.
Yeah.
Just go look at the camera, and he was right. And I go, mate, just tell me. I go, because I'll fix that. I'm sweet with that, you know?
But it's good that you tell your story, because, you know, like if you do go missing, you know, and you decide not to be on camera because you want to be that introvert for a little while and just go kind of escape, then people understand that, because there's so much pressure when you put yourself out there. Like I've found that in the last 12 months that I've put myself out there more and more and more, and I get into patches where I'll be inactive because I'm just so busy, right? And people will text me, say, What's going on? What's wrong? And it's like, well, I'm just really, really busy, right? And it's one of those things where maybe I should communicate that to my audience. that I am, swamped with work, so that they understand that you're not just, falling off the face of the earth, right?
Yeah.
So, it's important to, tell your story.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, what you're going through.
Yeah.
Obviously there are things where you keep things to yourself.
There's certain things,
but,
definitely.
it's important for your audience to know, what you're going through, right?
And where you've come from, man, because, a lot of people might see this and they go, oh, you've had it easy. You know what I mean? Like, I just see the end product. But what about the story in between?
We're an overnight success, man.
We've got to have to wrap that up.
I wish I had that.
We've just finished our 45 minutes, so our podcast has been cut short.
Cut short, mate. We've been cut.
iTunes. But if you're watching it on Facebook, you're getting that end
get the
part
full
exclusive. But Metz, thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks, Metz.
Thanks, Jay.
You're a good man.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
we
love the story.
We'll get you in again for
Yeah.
another one in the next whenever.
Yeah, we'll track your progress for another 6
See how
months.
I'm going. I might just be going downhill. Don't go near that.
Next
guy.
one, we won't praise you. We'll tell you you're doing shit.
Say that, mate.
Because you'll love it.
No. You watch the next day. This guy's doing too much now. I shouldn't have said anything.
Thanks, Metz. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for coming in, guys. If you want to sign up at Titan Fitness,
Yeah.
He's giving free memberships away, guys.
Well, anyone that signs up that's listening to this,
Free.
Check it out, free first.
zero joining fee. We'll give all of them.
Yeah,
No joining
free
fee.
for Luxland.
Luxland community.
Best gym in Australia.
Yeah.
It really is.
Best gym in Australia. I wish my house looked like Titans Fitness. That's
My
how good
house
the
was
fit
as
out
well.
is.
We put a basketball ring and play some basketball, shoot some hoops.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap us up for another week. Subscribe to the podcast. Grow your future with Luxland. And if you have any questions, send them in to info@luxland.com.au. Again, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. I
We'll
appreciate it.
see you guys next week.
See you
Thanks,
guys.
Bye-bye.
See ya.